Let's go!
There's been some pretty big news that popped up for fighting games that we were kind of expecting and waiting for, and it was the fact that EVO isn't happening. There was going to be, obviously, a lot of announcements around EVO for fighting game related releases or upcoming updates or anything like that, because every EVO is essentially just E3 for fighting games now. Developers took that initiative, but not so much anymore. EVO's not happening for obvious reasons, and there is now a whole bunch of announcements for fighting games that are up in the air. The crazy thing is a lot of these developers are Japanese, and a lot of these developers are seemingly working with each other now in a very weird amalgamation. And I'll explain to you and show you what I'm talking about. Now, this might not make much sense to you because it's all in Japanese, which is a little concerning. What it is saying is that there is going to be a Japanese fighting game publishers roundtable where representatives from all the different big Japanese fighting game companies will be attending, and they will be discussing and have announcements related to their own games. Capcom, Bandai Namco, SNK, I think Team Ninja, and the Fighting EX Layer guys. And Arc System Works, if I didn't say that. Quite a bit of potential that could be here. It's Arika, not Akira, damn it. All things that we know so far, Arc System Works is going to be announcing a new character for Guilty Gear. Like, they're already teasing that this is going to be a part of this roundtable, which is pretty crazy. It's actually extremely good news. In fact, one of the even bigger pieces of news relating to this is that the Fighting EX Layer crew, the Arika guys being there, it's almost guaranteed that they're going to be talking about the new rollback netcode that they're sort of beta testing right now for Fighting EX Layer, which is amazing. That means that there could potentially be a portion of discussion related to the fact that they're implementing rollback netcode into these games, because there is now a few of these developers that have actually embraced rollback netcode and are utilizing it and are trying to make it work. And then a couple of examples that might not have gone so well. If there is a possibility, if there is a future, a timeline where all the big Japanese fighting game developers are working together for the betterment of fighting game competition and online play in the future, if there's a united nation of fighting game developers that comes together to make the experience better for everybody, then holy shit, best timeline. We are in the best timeline. The Knights of Rollback, right? I mean, the conversation wouldn't be complete without some of the best people that have actually made rollback netcode. But it's one of my big hopes, right? That you directly are getting Bandai Namco in the same room with these other fighting game developers, specifically Arc System Works and Fighting EX Layer and Capcom, who are all now doing rollback stuff. Here's the thing, you do have to give Capcom a little bit of credit. The problem is you guys forgot, and the game that is a bad example of their rollback is what you're still playing. Marvel Infinite fixed a lot of the bad netcode issues that Street Fighter V had. You all forgot about that. I didn't. So the fact that Capcom had already made strides to make their netcode good is true. I mean, it's true, and it took place, and it's actually good that we're getting these developers all together at the same time to discuss this stuff, to discuss potentially rollback netcode. Not just Bandai Namco needs to learn this lesson, SNK does as well. SNK is getting there, but they're not there yet. None of their big games, their remakes all get good online for the most part. I'm gonna ignore Samurai Showdown Collection because apparently its online has a shit ton of issues because it's made by the same people who did Anniversary Collection, and that online has a ton of issues. But they're bigger games like potentially KOF 15, right? Anything like that. That's like the big concern. Are we gonna get another King of Fighters game with terrible online? Woof. I'd imagine Arika being there to discuss what they're doing with their game is pretty exemplary. The fact that they're gonna be talking about rollback netcode here. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. So there's a few potentials in here, like a few games that I would I think have a chance of being shown off. The only one we're guaranteed to see is this, right? Guilty Gear Strive is going to show the brand new character. We're going to see most likely the dual-bladed samurai guy we saw last year at last year's EVO. Other possibilities. Capcom showing off Street Fighter V characters seemed really high of a likelihood, and there's still a small chance, but Capcom announced earlier today that I think in August 8th or something like that, I think it's on August 8th, they're actually having their own personal event to show off their new fighting game characters. It's the 5th. Okay, so August 5th, Capcom is having a stream where they specifically show off their brand new characters for Street Fighter V Season 5. I'm assuming that that's not happening here anymore. That's most likely going to be its own thing, unless they have something else to announce. And we'll talk about other potentials. The other big likelihoods, Soul Calibur 6's DLC has been largely missing, I'd say, for the longest time. Ever since COVID, like there's been a lot of delays, and it seems like Soul Calibur 6's potential character DLC is not around right now, even though there has been some leaks. So I think that's another high likelihood that we're gonna see what the hell's going on with Soul Calibur 6 from Okubo. And then I think there's a good chance that Harada, because there was always a big thing from Tekken and Harada every single EVO. He loves showing off stuff at EVO. Pretty good chance we're gonna see what the hell's going on with Tekken 7 and their plans going forward. I think it's gonna be Tekken 7 related, not Tekken 8, right? Tekken 7, not Tekken 8. All of those are extremely high likelihoods. I would like to start putting some bets down on the unlikelies, on the what is not likely. The first big one that we've been waiting for announcements of and waiting to see more of is King of Fighters 15. The only game that's actually announced that we have seen stuff on that actually is a real game that is being made by real people is KOF 15. Last shown last year in the form of a logo only. Will we be seeing more of KOF? And I think there's a pretty good chance, right? I think there's a decent chance. So much that the money that I'm putting on the line right here isn't going to be ball busting. I'm gonna say for the cost of 25 gift subs on the day of this event, 25 gift subs, that KOF 15 will be shown in gameplay form. Not a cutscene. If it's a cutscene, this doesn't count. KOF 15 will actually be shown, and I'm putting in 25 gift subs. I think there's a 50% chance we're actually gonna see KOF 15 in a few days, which is cool. I would love to see what it looks like, who the initial characters are, everything like that. Not a CG teaser. I'm saying if it's a CG teaser, that is like the same shit that they did before. We have to see actual gameplay, right? We can't be a CG trailer. We'd actually have to see the game in action in some way. The other side of Bandai Namco has the potential to show more from another Bandai Namco game, and that is Dragon Ball FighterZ. However, the Dragon Ball FighterZ announcement would not be in association with Arc System Works. Some people don't realize Arc System makes Dragon Ball FighterZ, yes, but they don't publish it. They don't control the media that goes out for it. They don't control when or where they show off announcements or information. I think it's kind of unlikely that we're gonna see more Dragon Ball FighterZ announcements this soon. So much so that I'm actually gonna say 50 gift subs if something for new DLC for Dragon Ball FighterZ is shown off specifically. I think it's about a 25% chance of that happening. I think that they're just ignoring any more Dragon Ball FighterZ DLC, and they're gonna save that stuff for the potential Dragon Ball FighterZ 2. Expecting any Grand Blue stuff? I think that's a high likelihood. I think that I would not bet any gift subs on there being Grand Blue stuff here. Yeah, the problem is Arc System Works, once again, makes Grand Blue, but Cygames is the publisher, so it'd be up to Cygames to announce stuff for it. So as much as you would think that Arc System Works would be able to announce this just like for Dragon Ball, I don't think that's gonna happen. Fighting EX Layer is gonna talk about their netcode. I'd be really surprised if Fighting EX Layer talked about a new fighting game, but I don't really feel one way or the other about that. Koei Tecmo is gonna be there representing Dead or Alive 6. I'm curious what they would be talking about in relation to DOA 6, but I'm not sure. Like I'm only putting bets down on the things that I would be happy about. Like I would think would like go out of the way to be like, I'd be really excited for that. If there was a DOA 6 thing, that'd be cool, but nothing that I'd be willing to put money down on, right? I'm not ready to spend money on core value stuff yet. If there's something that really interests me in DOA 6 that they are putting out, then I would be willing to try it out. but I gotta wait for it to like impress me and want to grab me by the balls or something. Rollback netcode for DOA 6. That would be cool. That'd be definitely heading in the right direction towards a publisher's roundhouse like this, or sorry, roundtable like this. I think it's time to talk about Capcom. This is what I want to talk about the most. I really been waiting. I've been waiting to talk about this. So let's talk about Capcom. For anyone that's unaware, I've been pretty critical of what Capcom's fighting game department has been up to for the past 7 fucking years. And a lot of the decisions that have been made for a lot of their fighting games have been questionable. They've put a lot of work into it. Street Fighter V is a infinitely better game than what it was. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite never had the chance to become a better game. I had a lot of issues with the 30th anniversary collection for Street Fighter, and I still do. A lot has happened to Capcom's fighting game division over the past year. And for you guys that don't know, for anyone that hasn't been watching my videos and the news or updates of what's going on, Yoshinori Ono has been moved out of the director position of the department. He's now working in relations related to esports. So he's essentially an esports guy now. Long story short, Ono was demoted heavily in regards to the fighting game department at Capcom, which he was running, and was most likely responsible for a lot of the budgeting for. The crazy thing about this roundtable is that Ono is not present. The people that are going to be representing Capcom at this event are the director of Street Fighter V, who I've had a conversation with in the past, as well as the producer. So for the first time, this is indeed the first time that there is a fighting game related anything from Capcom where Ono is not the key representative. He is not representing Capcom's fighting game division in some way. And that's a big change. That is a very, very large difference from what has happened before, where anything fighting game related is usually his face right on it. He's at the event. Thank you very much, Shoryuken. We have Street Fighter V developers in-house specifically for this event. I think they're going to be sticking to Street Fighter V for the most part, which is why I am willing to place some bets. Street Fighter V is going to have its announcements a few days later, which we just talked about. Most likely going to be getting a few characters, maybe 3 characters out of the 5 that are probably going to be in the season. That's going to be a little bit down the line. There might be another announcement for Street Fighter V at this thing, but I don't want to put bets on that. I think we already know Street Fighter V is getting more development. This is a thing that's aware. They're continuing to support this game until whenever the hell a Street Fighter 6 is. However, if a Marvel vs. Capcom collection is announced from Capcom at this, which is probably a 5% chance of happening. 200 gift subs. 5% chance. The chance of this happening is about the same as you going to a monster, carving it, and getting a gem. It's about the same, like 3 to 5%. It is super low. But the arcade 1-up, I know, I got one right over there. There's a lot of things I wish would happen, but I think the chances of it are extremely minuscule. However, it is a 3 to 5% chance because there was initially going to be a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 anniversary event. 20th anniversary of Marvel 2 is this year. That was going to have a special demonstration at EVO, and it seemed like maybe there could be something related from Capcom in accordance to this, because even if you want to run a tournament, they have to get approval. You actually have to get approval for these things to happen. They had to reach out to either Marvel or Capcom to make that demonstration 20-year anniversary tournament even take place. Well, that's not happening anymore. So you would assume that maybe they're announcing something, but that's a big effing maybe, dude. That's a big maybe. You guys think there's gonna be a Darkstalkers game? Jesus, you jaded bastards. I feel, you diehard Capcom fans, I'm so glad that there are still people that have hope in their hearts for Capcom. I'm still glad. Maybe at some point sometime in the near future, Capcom will instill with me as much hope as some of you guys have.
Foolish amount of hope.
Ever since Street Fighter Cross Tekken, as being someone that it's their job to play and report and respond to news and information and developer ongoings of what's going on with these games, the past 7 years have been fucking rough for Capcom fighting game fans. The best news is actually the fact that Street Fighter V is in the state that it's in, and it's a lot better of a game than it was at the start. Holy shit. The fact that you have that hope, I think is great. I think it's great. I need that hope injected into me, right? I need something to happen. I need them to reassure me to be anticipated or excited about the next things they're doing, other than cautious and suspicious, because it's been a long time. If a Darkstalkers anything is announced, if a game with the name Darkstalkers in it is announced, I'll put in 500 gift subs. You know why? Because the chance is 0.000001 that's happening. It's so low. I'd be glad to give you guys 500 gift subs if that shit happens. Jesus. With that being said, did you want to know what the chances are for something even less than you personally sprouting angel and or devil wings and flying to the moon? You want to know what's even less of a chance of that happening? 1 in 14,605,000 is a chance of Marvel vs. Capcom 4 being announced. And those odds are pretty low. That shit is very, very low. So with the odds being as extreme as they are for the event of the year for fighting games, because E3, the supposed E3, the PlayStation conference, the Microsoft conference, whatever the hell Nintendo's been announcing, there definitely hasn't been a time for fighting games at those events. Holy shit. Considering that we are now in the wake of all the big fighting game announcements that we're most likely going to be getting this year with this event and the follow-up Capcom Street Fighter V event, if a Marvel 4 is announced, and considering it's 1 in 14,605,000 chance of that happening, you have a better likelihood of sprouting wings and flying to the moon. I'll put in 1,000 gift subs. And I'll have to contact my bank. Good thing it's not gonna happen. It's a good thing the chances are so goddamn low. So those are my predictions for what could potentially be happening here. And you know why? I would be absolutely overjoyed to put in some of these gift subs. I would. I'd be just emptying my shit to do this. I'd be so happy. I directly bribed the chat for shit to happen, and it's happening. I'd be super happy. I'd be insanely happy. If there was a way for me to somehow encourage or activate the developers to make the things that I would love for them to make, you have no idea the lengths I would fucking go. Holy shit. Especially from Capcom. Holy shit. It's going to be interesting. This event is going to be taking place technically on the, is it the 30th or 31st? It is the 31st. It's Friday of this month. I think it's very early in the morning. Oh, is it really 5 p.m. Eastern? 5 p.m. Pacific for us on the 31st. Wow, okay, I'll definitely be here for that. I think it's mostly going to be discussions, right? I think it's mostly going to be a lot of these devs talking about the cool shit that they've done in Tekken 7, or what they're doing for Guilty Gear Strive, or what they're doing currently for Fighting X Layer, or what the hell Capcom has done for Street Fighter V, and them just shooting the shit with each other. I actually think that's what it's mostly going to be, but I don't think anything too crazy is going to happen. I don't. I think those things that have pretty good chances are have a good chance of happening, but assume it's going to be a lot of discussion, and if it's about netcode, you know what? I'll take it. The next best thing we can get all these developers to talk about with each other is their netcode.